Hello YouTube, I'm David with the David West channel. Well, today I wanted to go ahead and use our new steel to cast sparks down on some charred punkwood. But before we do that, I want to show you which edges you should choose if you're casting sparks down on some charred punkwood, or if you're doing the Flint and Steel technique where you've got the char cloth up on top. There's some edges, there's some considerations you need to think about, because I use different edges for both. So let me show you this up close. This one here I would use for Flint and Steel because I can lay the char cloth up on there nice and flat. On Flint and Steel you want to put your char cloth close to the edge right here, and you want it laying down flat. So I would not waste this nice piece of chert that's ideal for Flint and Steel on casting sparks. See, even if I use this edge, even though it's got a little bump right here, the char cloth lays down flat, and that's what you want when you're striking. Now I know you'll see people on YouTube, they'll just lay the char cloth up there any old way. They won't tear it in half to expose all of these threads. They just lay it up on there and go to wailing away on it, and they get ignition immediately. It's just been my experience that for the best results, you want on Flint and Steel, you want that char cloth to be laying flat. So here's a piece that's going to be ideal for casting sparks, because as you see, it won't lay close to that edge flat. And even here, you know, that might be flat enough because it looks like it's laying down good. So you might have a good edge up here for Flint and Steel, and this edge down here you could use for casting sparks. Here's another edge. Now neither one of these edges, if you put char cloth on that edge, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a big space right there, and you might say, well, the sparks will be captured up under that char cloth, so why not leave a space right there? But it's been my experience that the spark will catch these threads, not so much on the face of the cloth. Surely you've seen what I've seen 100 times over. You've seen a nice hot spark land on the face of the fabric and just sit there and go out and never ignite it. You'll never see that when it comes to the threads. If a spark lands on the threads, it's going to ignite it. So let's go ahead and let's cast some sparks on that charred punkwood. All right. That time I think I had ignition on the first strike. Let's try it again. I ignited everything in the pile that time. when you've used up all the sharp edges on your chert, just break it in half. You can lay this down on a stump or on the ground or on some hard object and just crack it in half. Now you really have some sharp edges. Still need some good reactive charred punkwood. Oh, it went out. Let's try it again. But it doesn't go out this time. Right, y'all. Good old charred punkwood and casting sparks. You need to get over this idea that everything we do has to be a one-strike ignite. That's unrealistic. You shouldn't put that kind of pressure on yourself. There's nothing wrong with striving for the one-strike ignite, making everything as favorable as possible. But it's really unrealistic to expect it every single time. So, all right, y'all. I appreciate you joining me on this one. We'll catch you on the next one.